What I think Brexit exposed, and we touched on it, was the fact that there seems to be this schism between the media class and the average working person on the street, man, woman, and how actually more and more people are becoming more and more disenfranchised with the media.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think a lot of it is because of the individuals who are working in the media. Because, you know, I'm old enough to remember when I first went into newspapers were not full of public schoolboys and girls. You know, it was a trade. A lot of people went into local newspapers because their father was in it, or because, you know, it was quite a good apprenticeship. You could go and do a journalism course when you were 16. You could become a reporter, indentured by, say, the local newspaper in Hastings or in Cardiff or somewhere like that. And they were just ordinary members of the community, and they'd then go and work in the community, they'd cover the local council meetings, and then they'd sort of move up to Fleet Street and all that. But what we've got now, it seems to me, is some very highly educated people who have all been to Oxbridge at some point or other, and if not, they've got a degree in something or other, you know, and they've all become part of this same establishment. It's a sort of separate establishment to the establishment. But the media, for me, should be anti-establishment. You know, you shouldn't be part of it. You shouldn't be sitting there going, oh, I'd really like to end up, you know, running a quango. Or I'd really love to end up in the House of Lords for services to journalism. I'd rather be sticking two fingers up to them. You know, I don't want anything from them. I want to hold them to account. And I don't think enough people really do that. And somehow there's been this kind of cult of personality where you look at people like Paul Mason, you know, who's a great example of someone who was meant to be an economics journalist. I mean, I think he worked, I seem to remember he was economics correspondent for the Channel 4 News. And then he suddenly became this Labour activist. And you kind of go, well, which one of these things are you? And actually, at least you knew where he was coming from. He seems to have gone completely mad. You know, I mean, he's out with placards warning about this, that, and the other. He's now, the left have now turned on him for being not left enough.
Paul Mason?
Yeah.
He's not left enough.
No, apparently he's not. No, because apparently he's been talking about Keir Starmer being the answer.
Right.
So all the people that want Rebecca Long-Bailey to get the job or were rather keen on Jeremy. I think he's basically come out against Corbyn.
Paul Mason's to the left of Stalin.
I know. Well, something's gone wrong. You know, the wheels have come off. But I think, you know, when you watch people like Adam Bolton and you watch people on Sky generally, you know, they're very Remainy. You know, whether they think they are or not, they absolutely are. You know, and the news agenda that they choose to follow tends to be very much driven by that. And I think that's the problem. Unlike, you know, genuinely sort of people who try to be, and I know that people accuse me of being, you know, a Tory and all of that. But actually, if the Tories do something wrong, I'll criticise them for it. I won't find reasons not to. I won't find another story to do, you know. But there were so many cases during the Remain campaign and the Leave campaign where after the referendum, you know, I remember the BBC doing a story about Northern Ireland saying that basically all the cattle would have to be slaughtered, you know, if this agreement went through with Boris Johnson and with no backstop. And they actually had to apologise for it the next day because it turned out to be complete and utter nonsense. The NFU came out and said, I don't know where you're getting this from, but it's complete rubbish. We will not have to slaughter all the cattle. You know, just stuff like that, just basic politics and basic journalism, getting it wrong like that. Question Time as well. I mean, you go to Question Time and I watch it now just to get annoyed. You know, I literally can't see any merit in it really at all. And they're so desperate to try. The other thing about balance, I think, I can't remember who said it. It was somebody in America who said, you know, balance is not about giving equal time to absolutely everyone. Because there are some right nutters out there. You don't necessarily want to equate one person's thought process with another. And so the person who said this in America said, you know, if you're trying to be balanced, if somebody says to you, it's raining, you know, you don't get somebody on who says it's raining and somebody on who says it's not raining. You look out the window and you decide whether it's raining or not, and then you tell the people whether it's raining. You know, you don't necessarily take every single view and just repeat it as if it's, you know, gospel, because we know that the people who want to be in the media now or on the media are very sophisticated now. You know, people are very good at spinning stuff.
And do you think the media's hit this point of crisis now? You look at the mainstream media, and we were talking, you know, the Sun declared record losses of £68 million. What is the purpose of the mainstream media? Do we need it anymore?
Well, I think politically speaking, it's nowhere near as influential as it used to be. I mean, I was watching Prime Minister's Questions the other week and having a conversation with someone saying even Parliament is actually less relevant now in a way than it used to be. You know, Prime Minister's Questions is no longer what it used to be. You know, the debates in Parliament are no longer what they used to be because you feel as though everything's kind of already preordained. It's already stitched up. You know, all the decisions are being made now in Downing Street. They're not really going to Parliament to debate them. They now don't even have to because everything's going to be passed through. I think I mean, I can't imagine any newspaper being responsible for Boris Johnson getting that incredible 80-seat majority. I don't think you could point to any one columnist that was formerly powerful. You know, I think as entities, they're still, you know, part of something, but they won't last forever. And I think you guys doing what you do, me doing what I do in a smaller way, perhaps, but also we're doing a lot of stuff on YouTube now. You know, there's many more people watching YouTube now who've just been turned off TV altogether, really.